She's what
I'd like to call to order a meeting of the Platteville Board of Trustees. Start with a moment of silence for all those who serve and protect us at home and abroad. Y'all please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
I was thinking about you. It's one of those days.
Not lively, Danette.
Trustee Clark.
Yeah.
Trustee Atcher.
Here.
Trustee Morris. Here. Trustee Nelson.
Here.
Trustee Archambault.
Here.
Mayor Calford.
Here.
So you're talking.
Start with the agenda. You've all had an opportunity to look it over tonight. Can I have a motion from the board to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve. Approve the agenda.
Geez.
Thank you, pass it on.
Actually.
Motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Audience participation. Do we have anyone here tonight who wants to address the board on any matter? No? Okay, we'll move along. Move to the consent agenda, which includes the February 17th, 2026 meeting minutes and the RSL and Urban Lawn Commandos lawn care renewal.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. A motion and a second. Approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move to staff reports. And we'll start with the library. Naomi.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Trustees, I'll try to keep it brief. I'm sorry that I didn't get you a written one. High points, we have created a strategic planning committee. The goal is to increase foot traffic in our libraries. That committee is made up of 3 staff members, a library board member, and 2 active citizens who live in our communities, or attend from our communities. We created and translated a community survey. The first demographic group that we're reaching out to is families with school-aged children, and we released the survey on the Wellberry One Blooms app, and we've already received 60 responses, which is kind of a big deal. It's actually only been a couple weeks. We got 10 in less than 4 hours. And then once we've had that out for a while, we'll go ahead and modify for the general public and release those on our websites and our social media. And if the town is interested, we would like to release them on town website or social media, because part of what I believe will increase our foot traffic is to encourage people who are not already visiting the libraries to start coming to the libraries. Next is an update on our library board. As you all probably know, we lost one of our library board members, Cassie Heron Lawson, in early February. She was a lifelong supporter of libraries because her mom, Penny, was the director from 1972 to 1996. And then Cassie was on our board for 13 years, from 2013 to 2026. The library board and I are looking into a fitting memorial for her. We want to honor her spirit as well as all of the work that she's done. But since she'd like to be quiet and behind the scenes, we're kind of struggling a little bit to talk about what a great part she had in the libraries, but also kind of keeping it quiet because that was Cassie. So, but we're looking into that. We are currently seeking a new library board member to fill her seat. And I hope at one of your April meetings, they'll be able to bring a recommendation from the library board for a new person for the library board, as well as two of our current board members who are hoping to be reconfirmed this year. They are on the schedule for that. And if you're interested, our current board is Patricia Patterson, who is I guess she's officially the chair, but the library board bylaws, I believe, calls her the president. Ellen Toomey Hale, who is our vice chair / vice president. Karen Giardino, who is our secretary. Ricky Patterson, who is our trustee, and we need at least one more person to be on our board. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the High Plains Library District and member library IGA. It has not been revamped since 2020, so it's time. For 2026, the library district had only one submission to add, which all of the member library directors were amenable to. Eaton had 3 submissions to add, which I believe all of the member libraries were amenable to, but I guess the board didn't see it as a unanimous consent, so they have opted to not entertain those additions at this time. I think they are willing to openly discuss whether or not some of those submissions really should be added to the IGA. And so I am hoping, I don't know when is the right time, but we will obviously need to speak with the town attorney and my library before we present it to the town board to sign the IGA. So, and that's all I have.
Questions from the board?
Have you thought about a simple bronze plaque mounted on the wall for Cassie?
Yes, that's
Directly, not with the big thing around.
likely what we're going to do. Actually, we're talking about something that's either lucite or a crystal thing with a Camaro etched into it. But yeah, something like that. So and one in each library because she was present on the board when we built Nantes Library, so she absolutely should be recognized there. And maybe something else quietly. Maybe she was very involved in multiple organizations, so figure out which one needs assistance and see if they want people to actually volunteer to help or if they would just maybe appreciate a financial donation from the libraries. But thank you for that idea. Yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you.
And now we have the Historical Society, Glenna.
Hey, thank you for having me and being able to give you a report that's a little more informed than I had last year. So, but I'm historical, but I'm also a welcome center. So
All historic.
I just cover both bases. So yeah, we're all historical. So I believe you have the financials in there for 2 years. It was a little bit from 23 when you started it, almost 3 years ago this month. Yes, the visitors that I'll start with that. So basically we have increased a little bit. The visits have remained about the same, but the the financial has increased a little bit. So we're still averaging, not in these 2 months, but average for a year, about 175 visitors out there per year. And we're only open 148 and 147 days a year. So that's not terrible. So we started out with 5 vendors when you first opened it up, and we are at 11 now. And most of them are very local vendors right here in town. We have a honey vendor that is just, they're the bee huggers on 66, just west of here. Almost Longmont, but they're great vendors and they have flavored honey as well as regular honey. We have all kinds of handmade things from the seniors. We have sourdough bread and apple butter vendor. And we have a couple of vendors that have brought their stuff in. Phil Herman has his 30-year collection of Beanie Babies out there. So he's selling those and they go fairly well.
Oh, selling. I thought
Selling.
he was just displaying.
No, he is selling now. He has 300 to sell, not all out there, but he has 300. We also have a lot of gift items and we have these t-shirts. As this is one example, plus we have the t-shirts that the Veterans Memorial have printed up and they have the 250 logo on them. And she has about 3 or 4 different styles on that and hoodies. So we have t-shirts and hoodies for them out there that we're selling. So, and then we go to the museum and we have a lot of activities started for that. We're going to have the Maypole celebration again in May. So we really hope to see all of you for that.
It's fun.
It is fun. See,
Yeah,
no, Naomi can tell us for that.
What day is that on?
It will be Saturday, May 2nd.
May 2nd.
It's also the Kentucky Derby, so, but we'll be done before the Kentucky Derby starts. I was reminded of
The
that.
mile too?
Is it that, well, the Cinco de Mayo is supposed to be on the 5th,
True.
so I don't know what they're doing for the 2nd. It's the dinner though, right? Cinco de Mayo dinner. So that'll be at night.
That on May 2nd?
That's what the seniors, May 2nd.
Oh, it's seniors.
So we have 4 volunteers that have signed up since, well, at the first of the year, actually, at the museum and 3 out at the Welcome Center. So our volunteers, our request for volunteers has finally come through and we're fairly staffed well at all places. We have a couple of them that will be fill-ins for us. Not sure what else to tell you on the museum because they're pretty self-sustaining. I just go and, talk to them and keep them running in a central manner. But we are doing a garage sale or basement sale, a surplus sale in April. And we'll be getting rid of some of the things that we have a few too many of. We have children's desks, the old desks that we have 8. And we don't have enough room to display 8. So some of those things that we're doing, offering to the public. So we'll have that posted as well in the newsletter. Any,
Monthly meetings are first Wednesday?
yes. Historical meetings, and society meetings are the first Wednesday. Tomorrow is our meeting. 10:30 is about when we get going. And then Troy comes to visit us at 11 and fills us in on everything that they have questions on. Anything else?
Any questions?
Please come and visit us at the Welcome Center and the museum. If you haven't been there,
I was there Saturday.
yeah. Did you get to look around though? Okay.
Beanie Babies?
And I didn't go there. I went to Okay, thank you, Glenna. We'll move on to our action items. First item is ordinance 852, accessory dwelling units. Mr. Rankin?
Thank you, Mayor. This looks familiar because you've seen before in the last year, or by last December 31 to have this adopted. So Lindsay Wilson, our town planner, submitted the compliance report to go with this resolution. Not uncommon, the state had a few comments and I include that letter in your packet. So Lindsay worked with Katie to generate a revised ordinance, which is in front of you tonight. I'm going to ask Katie to summarize what those changes, they're very minor, but what those changes are, which will make us in compliance with this regulation.
Yeah, so Dola had just a couple of comments for us on the ADU ordinance. So one of them was about the designation of an off-street parking space. So we can only require the construction of a new off-street parking space if three conditions are met. Those are those three conditions that we inserted into the parking language that you'll see under section 16-3-20. So the state came back and said, you can only require construction of a new space if these conditions are met. So we just added that same language into the ordinance, just to make sure we were compliant with that. And then the only other comment they had, was about the requirement for, a minimum allowance of a 750 square foot ADU. So our current ordinance said the ADU has to be subordinate and no larger than 75% of the principal residence. But the state said, well, we also need to allow for a minimum sized ADU of 750 square feet, which might not, I guess, happen under our current language. So we just added that language in there to 16-3-20 to comply with that requirement. Those were the only two changes that they requested.
Wasn't it generally accepted that local jurisdictions could be more restrictive, but not less restrictive? That seems to fly in the face of this, doesn't it?
I think it was, so more restrictive in what sense?
Like some of the things that we were considering would be more restrictive than what they were delineating. But by what I read here, I got the impression that they're pretty much gonna dictate everything.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but I mean, as a statutory municipality, we have to follow state statutes. So some of these things, as we discussed before, really were mandates. I don't know if that answers your
If we
question.
were home rule, would we have more latitude?
I mean, there's currently a suit by 6 home rule municipalities over some of these bills and whether the governor exceeded his authority in requiring home rule municipalities to implement some of these land use provisions. So if you were home rule, you would still have to comply, and you may or may not join in on that suit to challenge the statutes.
Okay, I see. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
There,
Yeah.
I'm probably shouldn't say this, won't say it anyway. There's some circulation out there that the state is trying to do away with home rule municipalities. Everything is statutory. And the reason I say that is because there's financial triggers if you don't comply. There's funding sources out there that you would not qualify for. So that's the basis of my statement. So, there I said it. So anyway,
So home rule is becoming less and less.
it's becoming challenging, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how that suit goes.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
big government. Any other questions on this ordinance? If not, can I have a motion from the board?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-852, the ordinance of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Platteville, amending section 16-3-20 and 16-3-100 of the Platteville Municipal Code concerning accessory dwelling units.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2026-08 FEMA Hazard Mitigation Plan. Mr. Rankin.
Every 5 years, this is a pretty exciting topic for me to bring to the board, so. So FEMA requires that all municipalities adopt a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. So that basically, what you have in your packet is the excerpt of the Platteville version, because all municipalities and special districts are required to do this if they want to receive FEMA funding if and when the time comes. So the actual documents on the Will County basically website, Office of Emergency Management, and it's over. Last time I looked, it was about 600 pages in links, so I didn't want to print that off for you to review. I just gave you Platteville's section, and it has some basic community profiles, some statistics. There's risk categories that I have to work with OEM on emergency management to identify. And then the meat of it is at the end, there's 7 action items. So these are self-generated. I talked to Carl and David, as well as Dave said with the fire district. And what are our potential mitigation or hazards that we can work on mitigating, like wildfire, tornadoes, floods, so on and so forth. So I covered most of these: infectious disease and agricultural interest, of course, the severe weather. A new one from last time is we started mowing around Platteville. We mow Joan Camp's property. We mow South Platte River Farms. We try to maintain our ditches a lot better than we ever had before. Try to mitigate any kind of vegetation that may cause a wildfire potential. We're along the South Platte River, where there's a lot of dead brush and limbs in that area. There's no way we can control that. But hopefully, if there's a fire, there's also a river full of water too. But we'll see. Floodplain map update. I work with FEMA on that. Storm drains. There's a new one. I work with Josh Leva, our wastewater operator, who also oversees water and storm drain. And I assigned him to review our storm drainage master plan that we did about 10 years ago. So this next year, he'll be making some proposals on some upgrades and some recommendations. Remember, last July, we had that, for lack of a better term, hellacious rain and hailstorm. And it flooded Division where rain was going in people's yards and basements, yeah. And we had a storm system along Grand Avenue. That's all the way down Grand Avenue, but they're at capacity. All those lines in a huge event need to be upsized. That's a lot of money. That's millions and millions of dollars. So in some storm drains, like at Olive Lane, I'm gonna point this out. So I drive down Olive Lane on my way home every night. There's inlets about 50 feet in on both sides and on the curb and gutter. Those inlets connect to each other. And then one inlet connects to the Grand Avenue inlet. So it doesn't make sense. It needs to, both inlets need to have their own separate connection. But that's the way it was designed back in the day. Adequate water supply. Of course, we take care of our water tanks. We have 1 million gallon and a 500,000 gallon tank. That's our backup. What people don't realize is in 2013 during the floods, during the day, we ran solely water off our water tanks, not through a master meter. People don't realize that, and that's not something I promoted either, but those are reasons why we have those water tanks. Plus, they also add pressure to our system. In our warning systems, in our response hazard materials that we work with, and that's more internally with my staff. So those are 7 items that I generated working with Dave Sutton and Carl and David. I present to you to review and approve. These are things that we talk about throughout the year that I do with my staff, mainly with Carl and David, but not with the entire staff, because when hazard occur, it's something that not all my staff deal with, but mostly my police chief and my public works director. So in the fire district. So that's my summary of that tonight. Every 5 years, roughly, we do this process. When I first started, we used to go sit at the Office of Emergency Management in one day behind a computer, and we just type all day. Now it's a series of 3 months of consultants and firms and contractors and meetings, and DOLA's there, all the county officials are there. It's pretty exciting stuff. So I'm open to any questions you may have on that one. So
On the flood,
yeah,
when was that? 2013 or 14?
13,
13.
September 13.
On that, as a result of that flood, didn't our flood rating improve in Platteville?
We proved to have less impact because of our elevation to to the South Platte River. And the South Platte is actually a channeled river, unlike the St. Vrain. So, luckily the St. Vrain, the South Platte confluence is a mile and a half north of Platte. And that's where the floodgates really opened up with LaSalle and Evans and Fort Morgan. And I'll never forget, I worked that day. So when all that rain came down, that 24-hour period, I sent David, and at that time Mike Root was our police chief. They both lived in Loveland. They had to drive all the way to Brush to cross the South Platte to get home because they had already overtook the bridges here and in Fort Morgan.
I was coming back from Vegas and I had to go way south
Yeah.
to get home. I just thought maybe that would change our flood rating for people who do get flood insurance.
Our map really did not change after that event. Because in 2014, FEMA contacted all the communities along the South Platte, St. Vrain, and we reviewed the impacts, and Platteville had a lot of ponding going on because of storm drain, because we had localized water, but we weren't directly impacted from the rivers.
Right.
And I jokingly told people, I said, if Platteville's gonna flood, you might as well look for Noah's Ark, because it's gonna be that bad. It really is.
Yes.
So it's gonna break out in West Farms, because that's what it's designed to do.
On the drainage system, is there any technology for forced ejection? Means we can't afford to put in 20-inch pipes. Is there some way we can move that water along?
We're looking into pipe bursting to upsize lines, and that's gonna be pretty expensive too, but
I would think that would be outrageously expensive.
that was really expensive, because I think David told me that this line through our study is a 12-inch on Grand, and it really needs to be at least a minimum of 16, if not 20-inch, because it captures all the surface flow off Old Town, off of Main Street, which funnels on Goodrich over to Division, then all that gets flooded, and then it's worse at Division and Grand at here in this corner than any location in town, because it all channels there besides. And then from Goodrich, basically Silver Spur, Tijuana, then it flows down to this inlet here by the corner by the 7-Eleven. But, and it all daylights out between Rogers and Old Homestead and the river. That's where the storm drainage daylights out there. So if you see raccoons, that's because they're coming up the storm drainage system and coming from the outlets. That's how they work.
Don't get me started on raccoons.
I've
Suckers
seen-
keep coming in my backyard every night.
Walk down my street because they come up the storm drains and read what the river.
Got little suckers in my backyard every night.
Yep.
So the ponds that you built aren't really,
They're part of our system. They're considered.
but they're not, is it that they can't flow fast enough to get
Yes.
into there?
We have a mixture of what's called retention and detention pond. So the detention pond are basically are ponds that don't have any outlets. They detain the water and they basically either percolate into the sandy soil or they get evaporated. The retention ponds are like Rogers or like Energy Park. So we built those on the 16 acres along Division across from the ball fields. And those basically a series of captures of Reynolds and Main Street. The water funnels into that first pond, and then it retains it and it overflows into the second pond. That pond overflows and goes underneath an inlet to the parking lot of Anadarko to that third pond, and then the fourth pond is that big one over by 34. So that's a series of ponds we developed to capture this water on the north side of town. So that's part of our system, not just the underground system, but the pond system. Then we have ponds at Coronado, Goodrich Court over there behind Bonnie Dunstan,
The ball field?
the ball fields, and then Stevens Circle and Rogers Farm. We maintained all those.
And there's just not enough, there's not enough declination to get it off the Main Street and Grant fast enough.
Well, years ago when we upsized, we did Reynolds Avenue, we upsized the pond behind the community center. We had doubled the size of that capacity. But it's a detention, not retention. It holds the water. The reason we can do that by state law, because otherwise it's illegal, is we did a perk test. So they basically went in there with a contractor, and they basically fill it full of volume of water, and if it percolated through the soil at a certain rate, then we could use it as a detention pond, and that's what happened. It's so sandy over there, just went to the groundwater. 5 years ago when I had a water leak, I was losing 8 gallons a minute. I never saw water until I dug 6 foot down because it was going straight down to the gravel base. So, depends on where you live. That's the hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah. Any other questions? We have a motion from the board.
Move to approve resolution 2026-08, resolution of the town, Platteville Board of Trustees adopting the Weld County 2025 multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item, resolution 2026-09, Lions Club donation request. Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. This is the first of 3 donation requests you have in front of you tonight. Curtis Morgan submitted a letter asking the town for a donation. I think this is the first one he's ever done for the Lions Club. All clubs are lacking in funding, so our standard donation is $150 unless there's another need for a higher amount. I listed $150. I think that could buy a lot of Easter eggs, but if you want to increase that, that's your purview, that's your discretion. I told Curtis I'd bring this in front of the board. He's trying to enhance the Easter egg hunt with some food vendors and some games and different events, as it indicates in his letter. I told him that this would be considered at tonight's meeting because I know their event is right at about a month away. So he's currently soliciting donations to enhance the Easter egg hunt for the Lions Club. So 10 o'clock on that Saturday, the 4th at Lincoln Park. Typically, it's how it's always been. So. And that's all I have.
Is it acceptable to a donation to a private, that's a private entity, isn't it?
It's a nonprofit when it's an organization that provides benefits for the community. So I would recommend.
501c3?
Yeah, it is. It's part of a national organization, but it's a local chapter. I just didn't know. Yeah.
So I'd like to voice opposition to it. I'm certainly in favor of the town funding activities for their citizens. But in this case, I've got an issue with Curtis. Came to my attention, it's been some time ago, that he posted on social media, and I'll read it. He forwarded a post somebody else had done that said, "We're only going to get browner, queerer, witchier, louder, stronger, prouder. We're going to watch the dinosaurs die out." To which Curtis added, and I quote, "Yep, watch the old farts die out and we take over." Prominent citizen from Platteville replied to Curtis, said, "I'm sorry you feel this way. It is a very sad day when one group of people wish death upon another group of people. Maybe one day we can all just figure out how to get along." And Curtis didn't back down. So I'm 76 years old, and I think I fall into the old fart category. And if you're going to send somebody to request a donation, I don't think I'd recommend sending somebody that wishes all the old farts die out to make that request.
I'm just talking about me, so.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I didn't know about that. That was on what?
I think it was Facebook. I have a copy of it, but
I don't follow social.
I don't either. That's,
well, but
surprise to me.
yeah, but the reality is he put it forth and haven't seen anything where he's rescinded that kind of attitude and.
I agree. I find that unacceptable.
If you're an organization, you put a person with those beliefs representing you, to me, that's not okay. So I mean, I feel.
Here. I agree.
Yeah,
So I can support
There's-
that's on those grounds.
Okay.
Anything else to attention, because I think a lot of us were aware of.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Have a copy if you want to see it.
Okay, good enough.
Motion from the board.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-09, a resolution of the town of Platteville Board of the Trustees granting a charitable donation to the Platteville Lions Club.
Second? A second? Okay, motion dies. Move on to the next item, after prom donation request.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the first of two, what I call annual requests from Valley High School. They have others, and these are good groups and organizations that the town has typically supported. After prom donation, of course, after prom is next month. I'll hold at Zoe's Cafe in Greeley. Most of my boys attended this over the years. It's very well maintained by the sponsors and the teachers. Keeps the kids out of trouble after prom. That's the old intent. And a donation letter request is here as well. Last year was $350. That's what I left for you to decide upon this year. If you want to keep that the same, that's up to your discretion. But I do recommend continuing support of this. Being part of the school board, I can attest that all these organizations have to come up with their own funding and their own money. So I think it's good that the three towns in the district, not just Platte, will support these programs. That's my opinion.
Okay. Motion from the board.
I move to approve resolution 2026-10, a resolution of the town of Platteville Board of Trustees granting a charitable donation to the Valley High School after prom committee for all the obvious reasons that you could think of.
Second.
You have to have a.
It's 350 in there, in the resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say that. 350.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Ralston.
Aye.
Trustee Clark.
Aye.
Trustee Hatcher.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Yes.
Trustee Nelson.
Aye.
Trustee Archambo.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2026-11, FBLA donation request.
Thank you, Mayor. FBLA and I'll also throw out FHA are very strong organizations at Valley High School. FBLA sends a number of students to the conference, state conference, leadership conference, and the state conference as well. The state conference is at the Gaylord Rockies Resort Convention Center. And as indicated in the letter, last year they sent 4 students to the National Leadership Conference in Anaheim, California. So they do quite well. They place pretty high. So as you can see, the overall cost estimated this year for the Gaylord Rocky Centers is $33,520. The last few years, the town of Platteville has basically sponsored one student to go at a cost of $440. And I'm making that same recommendation. It went up a little bit this year, but I'm making that same recommendation to you tonight. Again, I think this is a very good program.
Motion from the board.
I got a question.
Oh,
How do they determine which student gets this scholarship?
It goes into the pool. We're basically the equivalent to one student. We're not picking a student. But basically,
Or everybody pays a little less.
everybody pays a little bit.
450.
exactly.
They give up, everybody goes free.
So I let Ms. Beasley know that we're basically paying the equivalent of one person, but it applies to everybody. So they put into a pool of money. Yeah.
Question.
Hmm?
For the dining and dancing pleasure of the board, would you care to explain what FBLA stands for?
Future Business Leaders of America.
Thank you.
3 of my 5 sons were in this program.
I was in the FBLA.
And 11 students placed in the top 10.
No.
Not a math test.
Yeah.
Says 30 and 11. I read that too. I'm not sure what that says. Or what it says.
11 students placed.
They took
in the top
18
10 of their
students.
Categories.
Okay. Okay. Top 10 of the categories. They just need to finish that sentence. Yeah. That makes more sense. Not 10 overall. There's multiple categories that they compete in.
Oh,
Good point, Steve.
Thank you. I'm always here to help.
Any other questions? A motion from the board?
Move to approve resolution 2026-11, resolution of the town
The Platteville Board of Trustees granting a charitable donation of $440 to the Valley High School FBLA. Second.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Ralston.
Aye.
Trustee Clark.
Aye.
Trustee Hatcher.
Aye.
Trustee Morris.
Yes.
Trustee Nelson.
Aye.
Trustee Archambeau.
Aye.
Carries. On to next item, annual employee handbook review and update. Mr. Rankin.
This is something I started years ago, the basic employee handbook. I present this to all the employees annually to review whether they read it or not. They sign acknowledgement that they will abide by it because it's a policy manual. This has to be approved by you. Each year, I present the town attorney to review with staff recommendations of the department heads. A few this year, nothing major, just to summarize on the cover sheet. The definition of what immediate family is. And that may seem frivolous, but the definition became very broad over the year. And I was getting some requests that I had to question, ex-wife, second cousins, grandma. I mean, I'm making that up, but that's kind of an example. So I told the employees, I said, we need to have more of a parameter. So that's what we did, basically immediate family up to grandparents and grandchildren, so on and so forth. But the very extended family has been dialed back in. So the town gives some pretty, and I can tell this to the employee, you give some pretty good benefits. They can accrue up to 240 hours of sick time a year and 200 hours of vacation time a year. And that's accrual based. So if I spend 40 hours of vacation next week, which I'm about to do, going to Arizona, in my paycheck, because of my time status, I keep billing that time back up. Most places will give you 2 weeks for the entire year, and you spend it, you're done until the next year. So I tell employees you're very fortunate. These benefits are very, 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 very good for you. Plus the holiday time. Another one is, for several years now under state of Colorado, an employee that works 30 hours or more a week gets full-time benefits for health care insurance. And we also, years ago, we adopted our code to give them longevity benefits. Looking at other policies from other communities, a lot of the communities are classifying full-time employment as 30 hours or more because of that. I want to make the same recommendation because they're already getting 3/4 benefits, not 100%, but I would classify them as full-time 3/4 employees. So that's the change in the code for that too. Part-time would be under 30 hours a week, non-benefit.
So you're saying that the 30 hours a week would be considered full-time, but the benefit package would be 3/4?
Correct. For longevity and accrual time. The insurance, you don't do 3/4.
You
Because
wouldn't
it's,
qualify for longevity, would you, at 30 hours a week?
yeah, at 3/4 rate. It's in the employee handbook. It'd be 3/4 of the.
I did.
Yeah.
Took me about 2 days to get through it because I kept falling asleep. But yeah, I did.
It's almost like the hazard mitigation plan. It's pretty good reading at night, so. Another thing is the holidays were spelled out specifically in the employee handbook, but you as a board, every December, you approve holidays and sometimes they tweak. Depending on how the 4th of July falls or Christmas falls, you give an extra day here and you modify it. So working with Katie, we took those specifics and we just refer to you by resolution, you approve those annually, just clean it up. And then what else was there? I think that was pretty much it. Did I miss anything, Katie? You think?
The return to work.
Oh, yes, that was the other thing. So another thing, on return to work on page 32. So I had to clarify the language with Katie and the department. So the return to work policy is for workers' comp related injuries. Some employees, God bless their heart, and I don't mean that maliciously, but they do a surgery, they get hurt, they automatically assume, well, I'll just come back light duty. It doesn't work that way. I have to have a job for you to do. I'd be happy to get you back to work. That's my goal. But if I can't have you do anything assigned that's related to the job you're saying, a police officer to work the front office phones to collect utility bills is not going to work. And vice versa. I can't send my utility clerk out on the streets. So it has to be. So this cleans it up to clarify return to work is for the purpose of workers' comp, but it could be applied to other employees if there's a job fitting for them. So it's case by case because that's truly how it works. So that's a cleanup as well, because that was confusing at times too. So, what Let me see what else there is. The holidays we talked about. You read through this, you got comments from me and Katie both, and, I'm not good at the comments, so I just highlight. That's what I do.
I guess my only question on the bereavement leave is aunt and uncle left off intentionally.
Not really.
I guess I would consider that
Yeah,
immediate family.
I see that, but I would say, let me get to that point here.
Yeah, and the immediate family is also defined under I can't remember if it's the FLSA, the Fair Labor Standards Act, or a different federal policy, but that's where that definition comes from.
Okay, and it doesn't
Does
include.
not include aunts and uncles, but
Okay.
there's another, I think siblings are not included, but we did include
We did
that.
include siblings. And I want to be fair and practical, but I want to also be case by case to some degree. And the reason I say that is, I know I have employees, I've been here long enough where I have employees whose grandmother raised them. Whose aunt raised them, and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of examples. So I take that in considerations too. So I want some discretion with the department head to say, this one really doesn't apply, but this one does. But then you also have the black and white definitions as well. So that's what I'm trying to get at. But it was getting pretty interesting with some of the requests.
So I can understand that.
And I don't blame them, but to some degree, I have to be consistent across the board. That's what this manual's about. So that's what I'm asking the board tonight to approve. So
It's pretty tight. It's a lot different than it was 12 years ago. You've done a good job.
this manual was about 5 pages.
Yeah.
When I first started. When I was police chief, my manual was about 10 pages. Now it's about 600 pages. So that's just state of Colorado. That's all I have on this topic.
Any other questions from the board? Not, can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve the 2026 employee handbook update as presented by the town.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, subsurface use agreement, Front Street, Mr. Rankin.
Thank you, Mayor. Katie referred me to another attorney who specializes in oil and gas development, so I worked with him on this one, John Sullivan, and we had several conversations. So over a year ago, actually, Oxy, Kerr-McGee's, one in the same company, basically, about, and I put in your packet, the pad site on what I call Todd Harris's property, they're 30 in Front Street roughly. They've got a site that was approved administratively for 8 new wells. They're high capacity horizontal wells. They'll be drilled north and also northwest for the most part underneath 85. What they have to do is get easement agreements that they drill underneath public roadways. So I'm sure CDOT got a similar agreement as well, but they're going to drill at least a couple of those 8 wells, 2 of those 8 wells underneath Front Street, South and North Front Street. So with that being said, this is what this easement agreement's for. We went back and forth. We made some changes. They initially had the venue as Texas. We changed to Colorado, just basic cleanup. And then I questioned about, well, what does the town get out of this? Well, because they offered a 10-foot easement, which is standard. Well, then he came back with this secondary agreement, which you have, and that involves a compensation agreement where it's $2,500 per well that gets drilled. And that's a pretty good amount compared to many agreements. So, I thought that was pretty fair. When the time comes, they'll pay that out to the town. It's a one-time deal. But also, once those wells are drilled, we'll get the royalties and the property valuation from that property because it'll be reassessed with oil and gas manufacturing. So our property tax will increase as well. So
Will that be like down on 85? That's a dozen wellheads they put in. Is that about what they'll do on Todd's place?
yeah, there's a big one also going up on the town property by Noble up on 3860.
Well, there is.
There's a big one up there. I think that was 16 wells. Because Oxy Noble bought that entire property. That used to be the Sodbuster subdivision, 146 acres. Suncor took the corner. KLX took the other corner, then Noble ended up just buying the whole thing. So those are two big operations going in Platteville town limits, so. That one, I don't have anything to present to you tonight because I don't think they're going on underneath 38, which is our roadway. But this is about drilling underneath our roadway.
Did you just say that our property taxes will increase?
I mean, we'll have more revenue.
Okay,
Sorry, that's what I meant.
okay. I'm
The
like.
town,
Not us personally.
not us personally, the town's property revenues would increase because of the impact of this drilling.
Okay, all right.
Yes. Sorry, slide of tongue.
No, that's all right. I just wanted to clarify that because that's one.
That'll make your ears perk up.
Pay more now.
Yeah, town gets repercussions and we get increase in taxes.
And you can see on that first page of that temporary perspective that I did, the pad site over there, or kind of south and west of Bella Holstein, directly east, if you will, of the mill. What's funny is last year when we were talking about this, I was on the conference call with Will County and Oxy and a whole bunch of the players. And on that second page, 205, there's that transportation map. And they had it going down Front Street to 32. Well, they were talking to Will County that they're going to pay them $46,000 to use county roads. Well, then they get to Platteville and they don't make that offer. And I said, time out. Where's our money? All of a sudden, we got pulled out of the traffic plan. They're not going down Front Street. So that's how that's negotiated. So
What the railroad charges them.
I can't imagine. But that's all that's for tonight. That's all I have. Any more questions?
All right. We have a motion from the board.
Move to approve the subsurface easement agreement with Kerr-McGee Oil and Gas Onshore LP and the subsequent compensation agreement related to this property.
Second.
A motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, bucket truck purchase. Rankin.
This one was a surprise to me because I didn't expect this coming this year, but Dave and I have been talking about acquiring a bucket truck for a long time because of the banners we put up during the Four Seasons and the Christmas tree light downtown, some other pole work that we do. And then when Josh at the wastewater plant said, well, bucket truck, I mean, get this, I mean, they have to pull those aerators out of that mechanical pond to service once a month. And they have to climb the edges of the walls with the, there's no way of getting them out but to lasso and pull them back in and have to lift them out. The bucket truck, you can lift them right over with the hook, pull it right out, take it right to the shore and clean them. So there's all kinds of uses for this bucket truck. Actually, Shane Quintana found this online. This is in Los Angeles, California. It's one owner, small college. It's never been off the campus out there in California, according to the dealership. It has very, very low miles for being a 2007 bucket truck. And we had the pictures in here. It meets all the specification. It's electrical rating. It has the fiberglass bed, if you will. It passes all of California's very strict hydraulic tests because they require all that on their bucket trucks. So I'm not worried about meeting Colorado standards. Very clean, very well kept, pretty much brand new tires. And for the price of roughly $26,900, and that includes shipping from California.
I thought David was driving it.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. But his girls no longer go to school in California, so he doesn't want to go to California, so. And I am not going to California, so.
And it's being shipped here on the back of a truck or driven here?
No, it'll be shipped on a truck.
Okay.
Because like,
We don't want a bunch of mats on it.
when Chief Dwyer gets his car from Chicago Motors, they put it on basically a trailer pulled by a dually and they haul it. So I'm assuming pretty much the same method, but I'd love to get this bucket truck. I mean, there's a lot of uses we could do with it and silly stuff, but our Christmas banners took forever to get down and the tree took forever to get undecorated because we couldn't get the bucket truck lined up because they're all in use. I mean, here or there, but that's.
The one that we use?
We use Hilltop broadband, but they were so busy that we finally got a hold of Stefan and he had time. We paid him $400 an hour, which is standard rate for a bucket truck. And he was able to spend a day getting that all done. But there's times, like even now, one of the banners like Bella Vista, the middle banner's already messed up with the wind, so it needs to be corrected. So I just think a bucket truck would be nice to have. That's just my agree.
What's your plan there for qualifying people for boom equipment?
That I don't have an answer for you. I don't know how that works.
You can, I mean, qualifications for running a bucket truck or couple that, you know, whoever is hiring and if you can go to one of these rental places that's on how to go and run a bucket truck. We do it all the time with our employees. There's other companies that will do it for you.
The reason why I brought that up, we have to go through qualification for running boom equipment there on the railroad, and I just didn't know
Yes.
if you knew about that, or you just in one key turnkey operation. I mean, there's some stability training that should go along that to not injure anybody that doesn't know the.
Well, CERS is gonna require us to get the proper training. I just don't know the details of what that involves,
Okay.
honestly, but CERS will mandate that.
Okay.
I've got
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
I can give you the name of the company we use. I think they're in Johnstown.
But yeah, that's a good question. I still don't know the answer because I didn't ask David that question. So
Do you know on average what they charge per training?
My personal opinion, I think this is a wants and needs thing. I realize it's neat to have this stuff, but I was at Home Depot and I got pictures, they got them for rent, they're pull type.
I know.
And, what I read was $500 a day or $1,500 a week. It's pretty hard for me to justify a machine with an engine and a drive line that we have to maintain when we have so much other stuff. And contrary to popular opinion, I don't think this is used all that much. And I think there's gonna be a lot of sitting involved. So it'd be nice if it was sitting on somebody else's lot and they owned it. So I don't think it's necessary. I think there's a lot of machinery around that we can rent. As far as the training is concerned, yeah, that irrespective of what we do, I'm assuming we would have to have somebody who is qualified not to tip the thing over. But other than that, I have a hard time understanding why we really need this. Because we have machinery now that does a lot of sitting. And I think this would just be one more thing. And sitting outside, I might add.
For the time being, I mean, we have plans and I fully respect what you're saying. Dave and I had that conversation. It's like over time, if we just rent stuff, would that be practical? Yes, we could. Will it be used every day? Absolutely not. It'd be used probably every week on different things. I wouldn't say every day. But, I think for the cost, it's something that is well maintained. I'm recommending it to the board. That's my stance, so.
You have an idea of how much we spend on renting that sort of equipment a year?
I have no idea because we beg and borrow with Hilltop, with Stephen at Indian All Tree Service. We're at their mercy. We try to, but when we can't, they charge us. So it's probably no more than $1,000 a year, honestly, maybe 2,000, honestly. But that, we're not considering the use at the wastewater plant, some safety issues out there with Josh. I mean, he's thrilled to death. He hopes we get it. Because it'd make his life a lot easier cleaning out those areas at the wastewater plant.
So you say a safety issue.
They don't put a boat in the water. They actually have to crawl the edges, hook it, hold it in, and then get it to the winch and crank it out, then on the back of the truck, and then haul it to town hall to clean it up. Or not to town hall, but over to on the dry side of the bay of the wastewater plant. I mean, that's what he explained to me. I've never seen it done.
Most of those bucket trucks aren't rated to lift very much. Usually,
Those aren't real
mostly
big.
1 or 2 men.
Yeah, those aren't real big. They'll do several hundred pounds. So it's just what was discussed. That's all I'm saying. So,
You know, one of the things that, when it comes to safety with a bucket truck, you're instructed never to lift anything with it.
understood.
So, consider.
We'll have to go by the CERSA rules. We're gonna have to.
So there's only a time frame, like, could we readjust this once we get a little bit more details, like what, like United Rental has bucket trucks I've seen there. If we do need something like that for a week, or having Josh use that out there at the at the lagoons or the treatment plant. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Steve there. Just don't know if we get the use utility out of 26,000 over the time where we'd be able to be a bit more efficient at just using the rental equipment and not have to worry about the maintenance and repair and everything on that.
Understood. We had a similar conversation years ago about the air compressor. Once we bought it, we use it almost every week.
Well, and if we're creating a safety hazard for our employees by not having something that they think they need. I mean, I maybe Todd could come talk to us about exactly what he sees as a safety hazard. That's my major concern. I don't want any of our employees to be put in a position where we're doing something unsafe, and if we had the equipment, the proper equipment to do it. I mean, you said $500 a day. Well, if we're using it every week, then that's gonna add up.
Right, but if Sursa says you can't lift anything with this, which if that's,
I think we need to.
we would need to know that because, yeah.
See that there's possible safety risk. You're also
Creating
adding
one.
another one.
Well, yeah, that's the concern.
I mean, if we need to come up with a solution out there for that, I think we should look into that, but if Sursa comes back and says, no, you can't lift anything with this, then that part of that discussion, then this is just, we're gonna put up banners and take down banners and do lights with it.
That's a principle.
Doesn't justify the cost.
And, just in the last year, besides the banners, we had to replace flags that get tethered. I mean, there's different things. We could start trimming some stuff away from our facilities. I mean, there's different frivolous stuff you can come up with, but is it gonna be used every day? Absolutely not. I don't know. But
No, my Christmas lights were up on the
Well,
tree.
you know, we're also investing in the equipment. We're not giving the money away to somebody else just because I mean, the town's gonna make sure somebody's trained on it. We're not just gonna throw somebody on there.
I understand.
This equipment depreciates year after year, so I mean, 26,000 now, 5 years, it's probably gonna be worth maybe half of that. So we're gonna lose $12,000, $13,000 in 5 years by having this truck, or maybe $9,000 using equipment rentals.
On the flip side of that, Nick, at $500, if you rent one day a week for $500, by 52 weeks is $26,000, which is basically the cost of shipping it here from California. If you keep it 1 week longer than that, you're money ahead.
Okay.
I mean, I understand the depreciation and the maintenance and probably a certain amount of insurance. But in the long run, and this thing probably has a life expectancy of what? 5 years? Is that fair? Anybody wanna guess on that
Well,
one?
it depends on the usage too,
Well,
but in lack of usage can also dominate it.
but, compared to renting it, you break even after 12 months. Everything after that is every time you would rent the other one for $500, assuming the rates don't go up.
And you're renting it once a week.
Right.
Which I have a hard time seeing that. I really do. I don't, I
Hard time
think one
seeing
day a
what?
month might be a stretch.
Oh, the usage?
Because otherwise, if we'd have heard about it before, because if we're borrowing or hiring somebody to do that, we would come to this threshold quite a while ago. I think one day a month probably is more likely.
And it depends, and that's a fair statement, but also depends on what's going on. I mean, every year we replace all the flags on the flag poles. We do decorations 4 times a year. I mean, with the holidays, I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna be used all the time. Our street sweeper, we run it 4 hours a week. It's a $170,000 piece of machine. 4 hours a week. Only drives it. Does that justify? Keeps the streets clean. I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, so.
Is there any way to get a hold of a more accurate number of days per year?
I'd have to defer to David on that one.
Okay. But it would be helpful in making the comparison, renting versus buying.
I could bring this back. I don't know if they'll hold it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it's for sale. They're not gonna hold it for us.
They said they don't, that when David, this was over 2 weeks ago that they found it. And this fleet company, they're used to towns wanting to purchase, order it and save it for board approval or city council approval. They're used to that. So they said they'd give it till tomorrow. David has to call him tomorrow. I mean, no pressure. If we don't get it, we don't get it. It's not a big deal.
No pressure.
It is.
They still make them.
Probably
Yeah, they
not
still make
one
it.
that's ever gonna come up for sale either.
I would say since probably the end of last summer, David's been looking at every auction out there looking for, and we found them, but they're junk. I mean, they're tore up, high mileage. Utility companies beat them to tar and then they sell them. This one's in pretty good condition.
It is, and with low mileage as well.
Did you say it was electric hydraulic or?
I didn't, I'm not sure. It's probably on the purchase order.
Does it say how high it lifts?
I don't have that information.
That
I
might be
probably
important.
should have told David to be here tonight.
Well, yeah. If it's-
It would be nice to have some documented how many times one was used last year.
Mhm.
I think that's important.
Well, they probably didn't use a lot because they had to rent it. If they don't have to rent it, they can use a lot more.
But how many times did we reach out to the different companies that we were using would be good information.
Yeah, I don't know if David logged that down. I know we've placed at least three of the flags. I do decorations probably more throughout the year, but we do them 4 times because I knew it's a hassle. I'll be blunt honest with you guys. If we have a flag tatted or something and it has to take a guy or two to go up there to Greeley or Longmont and grab a bucket vehicle or trailer and bring it back, then we're just gonna wait. It's just a waste of time in paying these employees to drive back and forth.
And if you're gonna rent,
If you factor that, then it's gonna be a lot more money, to be honest with
if you're gonna rent one, I'm assuming you would have a day's worth of work lined up for it.
you. You're exactly right. We're not gonna just drive the bucket truck, go fix a quick flag or fix a decoration on Bella Vista. We're gonna wait until things pick up and then we can justify renting it. And then I get complaints, to be honest with you, because I probably should do it right away, I guess, so. I mean, it can go back and forth. That's why I told Dave before this meeting, I said, I don't know where this conversation is gonna go. I like the idea of having the bucket truck, but that's just me. Yes. I like to maintain our own stuff if we can at an affordable cost. That's just me though. Do we have to have it? No. We can just beg, borrow, steal and rent it, as like we always do. At first I was looking for a trailer, but when I talked to Stefan and also Mike Evans over the years, that they said trailers aren't very reliable, especially in some of these areas that have uneven ground. You have to go over ditches, or not ditches, but curbs. And these trucks are more stable, so they always recommend a pickup truck, not a trailer, because of location. So, and this, as far as extension, this truck was clearly used by this college for decoration, so I'm assuming it's gonna meet our standards of what we need to do. I don't know what the exact distance is. But it was brand new when this college bought it in 2007. They've used it all these years. And obviously they maintain it pretty well.
An F-550 is a heavy 1 ton, so it would have the limitations of a 1 ton. Which I'm not saying that's bad, but if you're talking about stability, it's not a heavy truck to hold one, even though it has outriggers, just like a trailer does. I'm not sure it would be that much more stable than a trailer, because the trailers weigh, what I saw was there was 2 of them that they rent out, and one of them was 5,800 pounds. So that's fairly substantial, and it's got large outriggers, and those would go up, if I remember right, it's 35 feet. And I don't think there's anything in town we need to do that would be exceeding that.
I don't think we need to go that much, no. Most of our banners, we have mid-level on the poles.
Probably about, what, 22 foot?
Probably. But when we put them up, we were using Hilltop, and that's what they wanted to recommend, because like along Circle Boulevard, it's not just going up, it's going out from the roadway and extending it across some of the ditch area of those trees.
I don't think an F-550, I don't know, that would scare me, not a 550. I think you need more like a 2.5 ton truck if you're gonna do.
To put one man up in the air?
Well, when you're hanging out 30 feet sideways, that would make it a little nerve wracking.
It's not gonna go complete sideways, but I understand what you're saying.
Is there a safety consideration with the operators being familiar with the equipment as opposed to what you rent this month might be different than the equipment you rented last month? For familiar?
Well, I think that would be something we would address and make sure our employees are trained. And, I mean, if I go rent one from Home Depot, nobody's gonna ask me if I'm trained how to use it,
Right.
you know?
Yes.
Of course, you would make sure that.
They're not gonna turn you down.
And that's just it. If we're, hey, we need a bucket truck, our employees are gonna run to Home Depot and get it. It's gonna be a piece of equipment they're not familiar with. Nobody's been trained on that specific piece of equipment. And that would give me more of a hesitancy safety wise than if we had our own equipment that our people have been trained on, we certify that they've been trained on. And that's what they're using. So safety wise, I would prefer to have the same piece of equipment every time they use it as opposed to just renting something because they're different.
By that token, will we be better off simply hiring it done by people who are professionals with experience? Training is one thing, but experience is another, you know that.
And then if we hire somebody, it's gonna be a lot more expensive.
Yes.
It's not gonna be $500 a day.
No.
What'd you say?
No, you're exactly right.
Something an hour?
Yeah, Stephen charged 400, that was his discount. We tried to, and Hilltop has been great, but then they've gotten busier and busy with installation and contracts, and they just could not respond to us. So that's why it took till Valentine's Day to get our decorations down, basically, so.
Yeah.
I mean, neither here or there, but it looks bad. I mean.
Yeah.
That's why I skipped the winter to decorations. I put the spring up already because already in March, why not?
Right. No, I don't disagree. I guess my only concern is like what kind of said is if it doesn't do what we need it to do out of the sewage lagoon, does it truly justify the cost just for decorations?
I'll guarantee since this doesn't have boom outriggers, they don't go out, they just go straight down.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to get that boom more than 25% over the side of that vehicle.
Well, you would center it to where the base is a truck.
Right,
Not-
but if they're
you would-
looking 25 feet out, was that 10 feet off the sides before that truck becomes unstable? Because those outriggers do not go out, they just go straight down.
Well, you wouldn't go sideways. You go,
Oh, you're talking straight off the
I
back.
go straight off the back. Yeah.
I just look at the stability aspect. If one of the guys wants to do out there, I want to fall in that pond and.
It'd be all those limitations are gonna be in a manual that comes with the truck as far as
Right.
distance out, weight it can pick up, so on and so forth. That should all
This is
be
just strictly built for straight up.
readily available.
Yeah, this is not a complicated bucket truck.
If you're gonna extend, if you can only extend out over the back of the truck and you're on Main Street, that means the truck's gotta be sideways on Main Street blocking traffic.
Right, and you're losing half the extension distance to straight off the back anyway because you have more diversion.
Right.
I don't know I'm not sure that's a proper use.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's gonna stay there blocking the street for weeks at a time.
We are not gonna have another meeting this month, right?
Yeah, over a month, not until April.
So if we feel we want this truck, then we need to make a decision.
Right.
Same came upon this one, we might come upon another one. We're just trying to find the best deal for the town, for us, for guys can use. That's what we're trying to do. And,
Right.
you know, and it came up, Steve, that we haven't talked to the board about, but Dave and I didn't have any conversation because there's various uses that come up as need be. You know, wish we could get up in the air, but we can't. And I'll tell you, it's a hassle waiting for someone to respond because
Well,
we don't want to just spend money, $500 a day on bucket.
should we be begging and borrowing all the time? I mean, that's another question. These companies are doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. At what point does it become abusive if we're constantly bugging for it? So I would ask the board, does anyone have a motion with regards to this bucket truck?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2007 Ford F-550 bucket truck from Truck Depot Inc. in the amount of $26,900.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tim Ralston,
No.
Trustee Clark,
Aye.
Trustee Hatcher,
Aye.
Trustee Morris,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
No.
Trustee Archambo.
No.
No, we have a tie.
It's the second one we've had.
Mayor votes aye.
I appreciate the conversation and the discussion was good.
We'll move right along. That concludes our business. Go to reports from the advisory committees. Start with economic development. Mr. Clark.
The economic development, we met this afternoon, just prior to this meeting. It received a report from the town manager, excuse me, about the upcoming Main Street program. I'll let him address that. He was planning on doing that anyhow. There was a final revision on the summer nights pamphlet that's gonna be going out. I'll pass this around, if anybody wants to see it. It's the same one, basically passed out at the last meeting. Couple of revisions. We're gonna actually spell the word street correctly. It's misspelled on the pamphlet here. There's a map as to where the festivities and parking and no parking and vendors will be, and opportunity to educate the public as to when and where this event is all taking place. That was really the total of the meeting's agenda tonight, aside from what our town manager is going to report on.
Okay, any questions? If not, we'll move to public safety. Trustee
Yeah,
Cook.
we, had a meeting after the advisory committee meeting. I want to thank Larry for returning that. And, Jessica laid out what was going to happen this year. She always attends these classes, and then she brings back information to us, so, guess we don't have to buy a lockbox. Is that the law? We're talking about lockboxes and being in your home. Someone breaks into your and so we're gonna, she talked a lot about that, and I noticed on Nextdoor, I very rarely go on there, but there's a bunch of citizens wanting to put together a neighborhood watch. Apparently they didn't know about it. So I informed them that our committee met every fourth Thursday at 6:30. So
It's like the lockbox you were talking about
for the gun,
for guns.
yeah,
If somebody breaks into your house.
yeah, if they take it, you're in trouble. They shoot somebody with it. Right?
Is that, I'm sorry?
Right, if somebody breaks the house, go your gun, and then, but it's not in the lockbox.
That's true, but I don't know, they may make it in my house and won't make it out.
Well, but they can just as easily.
Well, that was a big
Steal the box, get the box open and use it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a judgment call. It's a personal decision. I mean, that's a homeowner's decision. I mean, we can make recommendations to the community for their safety. I know how I want to protect my family.
Right.
multiple weapons in multiple rooms, and they're hidden from my location.
Right.
So I never know where intrude my can be.
Exactly.
There's also a Louisville Slugger plenty of places too. So some intruders don't need to be killed, they just need to get out of my house.
Right.
Any other questions?
Did you wait before you assault me? I gotta go and get my gun out of the safe.
Right.
Just hang on a second. Yeah. Uh-huh. Otherwise, you just got a baseball bat in your hand.
No, they're not making anybody buy one. They're just recommending that in case somebody breaks your home, takes your gun.
Right.
Well, you want to protect your children and your family also from innocent,
Yeah.
Do you have, do
You gotta lock them up.
you have an officer that regularly attends your guys' meetings?
Yes, we do.
What are, I guess that's the only thing, was what happened in Rogers Farm and Old Homestead the other night part of the discussion of your guys' group?
Yeah,
Because I think what's probably gonna end up happening, and I don't know what we can do to try and stop that, is one of these kids is gonna get shot.
right.
And our citizens should not be out in their driveways with firearms, because we're gonna have bullets potentially going into other homes and things of that nature. So I don't know, obviously, lock your cars is obviously the biggest thing to prevent some of this from happening. But the citizens are starting to get,
Well, and they are, and they're wanting something to be done, but something is being done. You just have to call the town hall and find out, where these organizations are, because
right,
we only have 2 in Rogers Farm and 1 here in town where I live. That's the extent of our neighborhood watch.
okay,
So if anybody wants to come and join us from Stevens Circle, Bella Vista, we'd have a neighbor watch it over there, but we just don't. We have 3
so
people.
there's 2 people in Rogers Farm that are,
I think there's I see Jessica's out there and
Okay.
Ben, who's on our committee.
I can just add to what Hope said, I mean, even when I was chief, back in 04, 5, 6, 7, almost every winter we had this situation happen. And Carl told me today, they hit me, LaSalle, same descriptors. It's original, that we're not being picked on, it's an opportunity. Usually there's a pace car with lights out.
Yep.
It's a run vehicle, basically. They got 1 or 2 people on both sides of the street. They're just flipping door handles, just trying to, theft convenience. That's what they're doing. They've done it for ages, since the beginning of time, to be honest with you. In my 35 years in law enforcement, it's always occurred. Not like we want it. We don't want it. But I believe in neighborhood watches, but I don't want to be vigilante groups either,
right.
because then you're gonna get in trouble.
I just, my thing about it is by the time that the officer was responding on Plowshare, they were actively breaking into cars in Old Homestead. So it's like, that's the hard part of only having, that's the hard part about only having 1 officer on duty. Is that all we have on duty at night right now?
Well, yeah, because we're shorthanded, and we had that conversation. Yeah, because 2 officers are on surgery.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually full staff, but we have 2 on medical leave, and the 3rd one needs surgery. So we pulled the second ESER out of the schools as of this month. We have Seha on the schools, and
Oh, is she back?
Rodriguez is back on the streets. Because we're shorthanded.
Yeah.
And if we lose 1 more, then the chief will go on rotation. So-
Yeah, it's just one of those parts, because like I said, there's.
And so, Mike, you said that because during my meeting, because I meet quarterly now with the police department, several officers said, can we get more officers? Because I'm tired of doing these felony stops and DUIs by myself because we don't have any backup.
Right.
It is like, I did that myself back in the day. It's unnerving. I understand. But I said, that's not justification, just, because usually in the summertime, we're overstaffed because the SROs work the streets. But it just depends. So,
Right.
sorry, I didn't mean to jump on your report.
Another thing, we talked about it in the public safety meeting, and I mentioned it to Troy also. I don't know, do for prevention, but maybe for catching crooks, having good cameras at the entrance to, say, Rogers Farm, Stevens Circle, Valley Village, Bella Vista, at least to get good license plates. I don't know if that deter them, but it might
I
catching better.
couldn't tell from my cameras if they had a license plate on. They set off the car alarm in my neighbor's driveway before they got to mine. So that's just how I know where it all stopped, at least on Plowshare anyway. Would we have to put having cameras at the entrances to subdivisions up to a vote of the citizens?
We're cameraing as long as we just put them on public right away.
Okay,
I mean, cities put it on cameras on the streets all the time.
right.
We could have good cameras that only come to City Hall, right? So that, as opposed to going out to whoever in the whole world.
And they're not that expensive, right? You said they weren't that
What,
expensive.
each said what, less than 1,000, something like that? So,
We contract with Telos, and they do our security cameras around town. And they maintain, they do a pretty good job. And it's all cloud-based now. And David Montman, as our public facilities director, public works director, he maintains that system. So we have cameras in most of the parks. We want to increase that this year. We want to put one more at the sewer again for monitoring, and also a couple more at the cemetery. So it's going to happen. We can add some more
Have there been issues?
at those locations. Yeah. Yeah, people ironically at the cemetery, they'll lock themselves in when the gates close, not knowing there's a pin and it's still a gate that they can just pull and open the gate without busting it. But they bust our gate and we have to get it repaired.
There's a
Waste-
sign there?
The wastewater plant is just a liability concern. We want cameras out there. So, and then our parks, usually graffiti, knock on wood, I just think myself, but we haven't had any graffiti issues for a long time. It goes in cycles.
And we have one on our street by a private citizen, and I feel a lot safer with it being on there because it takes my whole house. Yeah, so.
Anything else? Okay, let's move to rec reports.
All right, so our next coming event will be Friday the 13th, doing a bunco event, over at the community center. It's at 21 and over. We're gonna celebrate, St. Patty's Day in a way, and, just have a good time, rolling some dice and learn how to play bunco here yesterday, so. It's looking like it'll be a good time. Starts at, 7. This is the old flyer. It starts at 7. I'm gonna change that, right? Okay.
I think we're gonna open the doors at 6:15.
Yeah, it says doors open 6:15, bunco starts at 7. We are gonna have a sign up there on the town, rec app or the rec page. I thought Jen said we're gonna set that up. I don't know if she did. That was just the discussion last night. But anyway,
Which is it?
We have to make sure that we can get the QR code to work,
right.
and that's what they were working on today.
Okay, so potentially sign up online. $15 for event, and we're gonna have prize for winners. $100 for the bunco, 75 for the most wins, and even the loser's gonna get $25. So you'll gain a $10 if you're the worst player. So, yeah. And the more people that sign up will increase the odds and will increase the payout also. So let everybody know, the more people we get, the more money will be split, so. And we'll have, for talks of, we'll have beer, we'll have Irish coffee if anybody wants that. Some mixed drinks if you want. We'll also have non-alcoholic drinks there for others.
Bartender.
Yeah, they might put me behind the bar. That's about it. Oh, and then, just, finger food or, appetizers there, keep everybody at ease there so you don't get hangry. So. That's it.
That's it? Okay, we'll go to parks, trails and trees.
Thanks. I think the only thing we got new from last report, this morning, David Brand, Dee and I met out at the Nature Preserve and just reviewed where we're gonna mow, the pathway for walking, the try out, I guess, if you will, and we like how that one turns out to get a little more, permanent trails, ADA, et cetera, but Troy had, I think we did talk about the entrance. We got the culvert and and the guards had painted.
The sign came in today, Larry.
Yes,
So hand this out since you're talking.
You know what, that's gonna open.
we're still just thinking spring, see how snowstorms go and,
What I'm heading out is what the board approved a few years ago was a master plan. We took the pictures on the right of way and had rules and regulations. And simplified the map, so when you go out there, this will be blown up on the entrance. So people know what the rules and regs are and where the park is, actual. And this all will have fencing and perimeter signs around the park. And then, what I'm asking you tonight, if I may, Larry, is any edits, changes, recommendations, so the basic rules we stole from Maury Nature Preserve in Loveland, which is over by Mariana Buttes. The mission statements was moved to the bottom, directions on the very bottom. For where the location is. That's pretty good.
Police trail. You're just gonna,
these aren't gonna be the original ones.
yeah, but
Essentially, what we did, just kind of made a loop around the outside and then one, somewhere near the middle, just going across.
just cutting the grass down.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
putting
that's all we're
any
doing
road base or anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, cause I was gonna say, if you put anything down, it'd probably wash out and it's flooded.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be a consideration.
By not allowing horses, are you guys concerned that people will want to ride your trails?
Well, yeah, I mean, going back to the very beginning, we did set it up as a nature preserve, allowed opportunity to have a trail and for Platteville residents to actually go to the Platte River. First time in a long time. And we got the input from, Parks and Wildlife, but if you're gonna make it a nature preserve, like not have dogs, motorized vehicles, and I know we're gonna have a challenge with that. People wanna go down and play, and that's gonna chase away the wild turkey and deer if you're trying to maximize that. And at least initially, that's what the committee decided is a nature preserve, not like a city park. So,
The goal is, as we talked about, is preserve what's already there, which is the natural habitat. I know people want to bring their dogs, they want to go down there with their four-wheelers and everything else, but this is not the place for that. That's what this is not intended for.
yeah, to keep in mind, the Platte River, south and east to the intersection of 65, or south and west, excuse me, 65 and Main Street. Some of the, ideas we had there was also have walking paths and maybe a little more, things that would fit bicycles and that sort of thing, so. But that, I mean, that's somewhere down the road.
South of 66, you could, if you drive down it like I do by those old tank batteries south of the 66 highway, they use it for motorbikes and whatever down there already.
Yes.
And then if you go further down that lease road to the other tank batteries along the river, that's a beautiful area. You can walk, that'll be a nature area down there once we develop that property. So
Is that what the intention is?
it's all floodplain. You can't build down there. So that'd be basically a natural.
I think there's a roost tree down there, isn't there? That's what I thought.
The tank batteries over there is supposed to be moved.
I counted 65 turkeys 2 days ago. They're off of that.
Ton of them out there on.
Yeah, I don't know where their roost tree is.
They go back and forth across the road all the time.
2 dozen of them this morning.
I've had to dodge them off my motorcycle. They don't move. They just stand there and look at you.
Question.
There.
Larry, mountain lions that I'm just curious.
I was-
They
I mean,
do prowl, but
especially young males, when they're searching new territories, they tend to follow rivers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a few years back, I recall, it was a tagged mountain lion that started out foothills of Colorado, ended up in Nebraska. So how do you suppose
They have-
that area that?
Well, yeah, no, they follow the rivers. I just didn't know if that was like a I saw, and the snakes are pretty prominent, coyotes, but we went straight to mountain lions, so. Oh, and bears too, you
Well,
know?
there certainly is a possibility it could be lions, tigers, bears. Lions, mountain lions, bears have been seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Rattlesnakes, I mean, the point is.
Just be aware of the wildlife that's,
It's not like down.
I thought that was kind of extreme, but, I know they make their way down, I just got to point
Hey,
it out.
Nick,
But
I took this verbiage straight from the park they preserve in Loveland, and it says bear, so I asked them to change it to mountain.
Mountain lions, yeah, okay. Hey, maybe it'll be so populated down there. It'd be cool.
and we'll have challenges like, technically you can only, if you can go to the mid of the river, and if you go past that, you're trespassing on the other side.
Right.
And so in summertime, and especially when the river's down, you can see people coming in our park and going across, and our neighbors may not like that. So we may have to, it might be an issue we gotta try and deal with, things like that.
Is it the responsibility of the landowner to fence people out, or is it our responsibility to keep them within our boundaries?
State law still open range, so they got fence out.
It's still open range?
I think so, but
It is.
That wouldn't make some happy landowners, would it?
well, that and,
Two-legged wildlife out.
back and forth, you could try to pick up along the roads. That's the thing.
We have a method of locking that place up to keep from having woodsies.
We need, well, one of the things like communicate with the police department about checking it like our other parks. And, because that, you're not supposed to camp. We talk about having the opening and closing similar to our city parks, dawn to dusk or.
It's dawn to dusk because that's standard for nature preserves. It's not 11 PM to 5 AM like the town has. And I talked to the police department about it, that when the time comes, they'll just have to cruise out there sometime in the morning and evening and monitor it. And we'll have some cameras set up out there as well, monitoring the area and our biggest concern is, besides violating these rules, is trash and debris and couch dumping and all that kind of good stuff, which has already happened.
When we, started going out picking up trash, there certainly is evidence of people that lived there more than a few nights. A lot of interesting stuff we picked up, so.
It's getting worse along, 25 and a half. It gets really bad, then the county picks it, or the state picks it up, and then it's good for a week or so, and then it comes right back again.
Fortunate side effect of what it costs to go to the dump these days.
Larry, anything else? Nope. All right, we'll move to our town attorney report.
I don't think I provided a written report for this meeting. So I don't know if I'm on, but I can just talk about what we've been doing this month. We've been working with, Danette and Troy on all of the election deadlines that we need to comply with for the April 7th election. A Tabor ballot election notice will be going out shortly to all registered voters in the town. I've been working with David on an easement property issue. Worked with Troy, of course, on preparing the employee handbook updates. I still need to finish my review and some edits that we have on the Real Weld soccer IGA issue. That's in my court, so we've had a few other things going on. But that's my verbal report. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions? If not, we'll move to the town manager reports.
Mayor. Yesterday, the utility bills went out. I drafted the TOPS newsletter that went out with it, focusing on the election, including, I listed the 5 candidates running for the trustee position, and the greet meet is, and take one and pass one around. This is like an early preview. You'll get this in the mail whenever you get your utility bill, your snail mail. And then I talk more specifically about the property tax, as well as the sales tax initiative. This is, I tried to do a layman's summary of what these involve. Because we all know that ballot questions are so clear cut and concise because of how they're drafted, because they're required to be drafted that way. So that's just something for you to look at, and like I said, you'll give you until the bill, the whole community will. It's hard to address something like this on 2 short pages, so I did the best I could, and I had several employees read it just to make sure that it was clear and concise, but the 1% sales tax initiative is similar to what we did in 2009. We did 1% capital improvement fund. So this is for downtown development and park enhancements. Other items I want to highlight is Dave and I present to the Will County Advisory Committee for the Community Development Block Grant 315 up at Will County office buildings. Dave and I met also with Chris LeMay with the EIAF and Ready grants that were submitted. That is pending. I already mentioned I received the other dollar grant for the police station design, which we met also with Infusion Architects. We'll kick that off. That will come to the board on May 5th. So April 7th is our next meeting, which is election day and night, where a mail-in ballot, people can still drop their ballot off here to the town clerk, but we'll still have a meeting that evening at 7 p.m. And then going to May 5th, jumping ahead, the new board, I call it, will have elected officials training with not Sam Light, but another attorney with Sursa. I invited Katie to attend and department staff to attend that meeting at 6 prior to the regular meeting on May 5th. So some things coming up. So let me talk briefly about our next meeting, and it's not really a meeting, it's a meet on March 24th this week. And I'll talk more to the candidates as well about this, but the intent that night is at 6 p.m. start in this room. I had reached out to the League of Women Voters over a month ago. Today I got an email from them. It's a little late. And it was just miscommunication because the lady that checks it was out on surgery on their email. And it didn't get past through the channels of the other ladies that work up there, so, or volunteers. So on the 24th, I was going to set the room up where the candidates can be up here on the front, and the 3 here tonight and the 2 current on the board, and ask each candidate. I'm going to have a moderator, not me, hopefully. I picked someone. I'm waiting on a response to basically do the moderator. Each candidate just introduce themselves to the community because it'll be on camera. It won't be live. It'll be recorded. Talk about yourself, why you're running for the board, a little bit about your background, and then the rest of the board can have an opportunity in the community is do basically a light Q&A. So it's not a debate. It's just a greet and meet, some basic questions, but it'll be moderated, but it just won't be by the League of Women Voters, but it'll be here instead. Because if an important matter had to come up for you to take action, I could do a special meeting that night and get that done right away. And then we can go to the greet meet. That's why I set up that way. So
it's scheduled from 6 to 7 essentially then?
6 to 7, basically. Okay.
So it'll be broadcast, will it be recorded so you could view it later?
Yes, it'll be just like we are now. We finally got this fixed because there's 2 wires someone twisted on the TV that kept it from being audio. We've had the visual all this time, but the audio we got messed up. Not sure how that happened, but we got it fixed now.
Put a mouse trap in there.
Probably. I'm not blaming anybody that wears badges, but I'm just saying when they do their training, they use the TV, and sometimes I don't know. But anyway, I'm just assuming. I'm not making any accusations here, but yes.
After it's all done and you've got the recording, if you would like, I can loop that recording at the library. So when
Thank you.
Okay, I'll send it to
Yeah,
you.
we'll do that. Do that as well.
So this is gonna be treated not as a mandatory, but as like a study session?
Yeah, it's basically a study session night.
Okay,
Okay. I won't have any action items for you as of right now. I don't anticipate any. A couple of things to wrap up with is, first I'll talk about Main Street program. Mr. Clark mentioned that earlier. So meeting was held this last week with DOLA reps. It was virtual with them. We were here in person. It went very well, mainly talking about this advisory committee, steering committee, that we're forming together to be basically our stewards of the Main Street program. One thing they strongly recommended, and this is really new to the program, is they are highly recommending that each new membership provide funding to pay a part-time Main Street manager to do the reporting and the work. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a really good idea. They're recommending a $25 an hour minimum position. They'd work 8 to 12 hours, probably a month, maybe more to start with, to get the membership. And we put money aside in the economic development section of our budget to do grant reimbursements, and we didn't even use half of that last year. So I'm asking the board if I could pursue that. It's not an action item, but this is basically a way to advertise and see who out there in the committee world, outside of staff, would be interested in becoming a part-time Main Street manager. Part of what DOLA really wants to see is a committed advisory committee that's long-term. This is not a fly-by-night venture. This is a long-term venture for the community. Because our Main Street program, once they're going to monitor it, we have to do monthly reporting. They have annual conferences to go to that they have scholarships for, both state and national. And they have technical support, and they also have some grant assistance to do some smaller improvements on Main Street, not repave it, but they can do signage and benches and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty optimistic program, I believe. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to advertise for Main Street manager in the next few weeks and see what I can come up with. I'll bring that back to you, obviously, for approval, probably at the April 7th meeting, if it works out that way. So
You're talking Main Street manager, will this be you or somebody you're gonna approve
not me.
under you? All right, okay.
They don't want me with the different hats I wear to be the Main Street manager. They would rather have somebody dedicated to the committee that's.
So this will be a committee member.
Yes. Yeah, preferably.
Okay.
And they would work directly with the committee. They would be your voice and report back to you. And I'd work with them on a technical level to get this program going. So,
Will you delineate in writing what the responsibilities of that job would be?
and I reached out to Gail and Tracy at DOLA, and we're having that conversation to generate a job description.
Okay.
Because they went over it very quickly during the meeting last week, but I need it in writing. So, and I'll give that to you as well. I'll send that out to you as well. So, the last thing before I answer any more questions is each year, this is something we've never done before, but each year the House Appropriations Committee, State of Colorado, actually the federal government, not State of Colorado, has a very short window for our congressman, which is Mr. Gabe Evans in our 8th district, State of Colorado. Other districts are doing this as well, that our Congress people can submit earmark submissions for federal projects to the federal government. We don't know how much money is available. Last year, there was 15 million that was available, and 12 million was funded, ranging from a couple $100,000 to 2.3 million. And Adrian, our former mayor, works for Mr. Evans, contacted me last week about this, and it's due next Tuesday. So David, Carl, and I have been working on this. We download all the information. I am looking at, and this is not a match project, okay? This is, you get what they're willing to give you kind of thing. So talking to Scott Watkins, which is the main representative for Mr. Evans in our district, as well as Adrian and this other lady. David is working with Josh Leba to do one of two things, either a couple $100,000 with a new slip lining to get more slip lining done, which is a qualifiable project, or at the wastewater plant, I believe Dave mentioned that Josh would like to have a backup basin for emergency. So we have to drain one tank. We could put it into a backup basin, correct whatever needs to be corrected, and then put that sewage back in and be treated. That's $200,000-300,000 project. So that fits this category. We talked about doing the lift station upgrade at Bella Vista, but that doesn't meet the threshold because they want something that's shovel ready in 12 months. That's not going to be shovel ready in 12 months. It takes a year to design it.
Right.
So that's that, but that would be $1 million project.
Carl, both of them.
What's that?
You put a slope on it?
You can, there's unlimited, you can saturate it. Last year, Greeley received 2 of the 12 projects. I don't remember all the details on it, because I missed that training. Last Friday was a workshop. I was out of state. So David attended that workshop on this. Talking to Carl, he knows that all their police radios are gonna be outdated in the next probably 2 years. The other chiefs are talking about it. Replacing all our radios is a $200,000 acquisition. Both police car and handheld radios. That's how expensive they are. 200,000. That's the estimate. So I told Carl to start putting in an earmark for that as well, under the law enforcement section. And then I am asking, I haven't decided a number yet, but 2 to 2.5 million on the police station. And that would be the big project for Platteville.
Is that what they're limiting you to?
When I talked to Scott today, of the 12 million, he said the highest they want people to go is 3 million. I don't want to be the greedy applicant, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. So I thought 2 to 2.5 million, that would basically cover half of the cost. We've got another 1.5 million in the bank. We could up that to 2.5 million based upon our budget, or we could go after cops or COP program. I mean, there's different options out there, honestly.
Right.
The DOLA grant, those open back up. As you well know, I mentioned this, there's basically 12 million available in DOLA funding for tier 1, and there's 52 million in request. That's going to be that way for a while, because that's just how things are with the Department of Affairs. And the governor keeps taking the money back to the state budget, but that's fact, not my perspective. But anyway, so I'm going to do this, if it's okay with you, and see what kind of money we can get. But those are the projects we're going to pursue. Try and take advantage of this now, because I know Mr. Evans. I met him. He's former military and law enforcement. So I hope this earmark bends his ear, all pun intended, and we get a little bit of financial support. But I know it's not like the DOLA last year when they did this earmark. I think David on the workshop on Friday when I was gone, he said they had 20 applicants. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And what they're focusing on this year, according to Scott, is they're focusing on smaller communities under 10,000, with water and wastewater being a priority. So we never know. We might get lucky. Of all these applications, we might get none, we might get partially funded, we might get a full award on one of them. So we'll see what happens. But the funding, if it gets approved, then it has to go through the appropriations to the federal government, make sure we don't have any more government shutdowns, freeze up the money, and then it'll probably be the end of this year before that would be available. So with that, I'm open to any questions you may have. Been writing a lot of grants this last couple of months, so.
You visited, CDOT demolition of Main Street?
Yep. That's my full intent. I've not reached out to Ms. Paddock, our regional director, yet. David and I was talking about that today. And we had the 700,000 from the grant I wrote last year to do the sidewalks on Main from Elizabeth to Cherry, basically past the cracked egg, and that 300 block of Marion from Vasquez to Main. So we've that tease, so to speak. We've got the money to redo all those sidewalks. That's going to be a challenge, because all the entrances on the businesses on the east side of Main Street are not ADA compliant. They all have a step up. You know, Pia ones you can roll into a wheelchair, so with some of these others, but the Silver Spur, Dr. Green, Shirley property, they're not ADA compliant. They have to be ADA compliant. So I'll be curious what Mr. Curtis comes up with. And then that design also has to be signed off by CDOT, because it's all their, you don't really understand this, but Main Street and every sidewalk along Main Street is CDOT right away. They control that. Even 2 years ago, when we chip sealed Old Homestead and we chip sealed up to Main Street, they yelled at me because I didn't get a permit from them because I touched the right of way. I just told the pound sand, because I'm not going to do that. So that's.
You can't yell at them about how crappy that road is through there.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that. I indicated in my newsletter that my goal as a manager, one of my goals is if the ballot measure passes with 1%, I want to approach the board about Main Street devolution being a top priority once and for all, and getting that ownership by the town of Platteville, getting the sidewalks done, all of them, getting the road repaved, and we maintain it. David also wants to do some water and sewer upgrades as well that. But that 1% would bring in at least $1 million a year based upon current revenues. So the estimate to redo Main Street a few years ago was 3.5, so it's done, it can be done. We can just phase it.
And you're talking about with absolutely no participation on the part of CDOT?
I'm gonna ask CDOT, if we're gonna devolve this, they gotta chip in something. We're not gonna take a free road, just because we have a funding source potentially.
Especially a free road that's in that shape.
Right.
Because the way the devolution works, in Fort Lupton and Platteville, I did this with Crisscross back in 2015. That we both, their Denver Avenue is the same condition and CDOT right away as the oldest Strombolis Pizza used to be, is our main street. Our devolution request was 3.5 million. They counted at 1.2. And the board in 2015 said, no, thank you, which they should say no, thank you. Fort Lupton did the same thing and they got turned down too. And then political dynamics changed in the state of Colorado. Current governor was seated a few years later and devolutions went off the table. They haven't done one since to my knowledge. But Kersey devolution from the high school, they own that road that goes in front of Platte Valley High School.
Mhm.
And Evans did devolution, that frontage road that used to be at 42 Ave, that's all gone away with that little race car track thing is that used to go punch through. That was a devolution. Where CDOT gave them the money, and they said, take the street. So,
Yeah.
but that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay,
I have a question, if I may.
sure.
Years ago, we talked about parking on our right-of-ways on, well, on almost all the streets that intersect with Main. That we own a significant, and we talked about parking that would be off Main. And at the time, I don't think that there was enough traffic to really rationalize it. But I see it now with a couple of properties on Main Street. They have quite a bit of parking. And might be time to revisit that, to put parking like in front of the old gas station. There was, I can't remember how many feet was there that we could develop parking off Main Street parking.
On Goodrich side or Main Street side?
Well, both sides. I thought we had.
I think it was right there between the old gas station.
The old gas station.
and the old
Yeah, we did that in 2017. We did a parking plan downtown.
So that is a plan that has been developed, but nothing's been, it might be time to think about that.
Yeah, I think next year, when we pursue the sidewalk improvements, we can throw in some more money to do that.
Silver Spur generates a lot of parking. And it would be good to maybe get it off of, less of it on Main Street.
During that conversation between the Main Street Gym, which is the old Assembly of God Church, and the old gas station, which is now, I can't remember the name of the church, but it's a church.
Yeah.
Those property lines are right between that parking lot. They go half and half. So I talked to Benny years ago and Paul Eisenach owned the old church at the time, well, the old gas station. And we were going to do a partnership where it's right now gravel. The town would go in and invest and we paved that, put in parking blocks. And they would then agree to allow that public off-street parking in return for us paving it. And then we had parking stalls along Goodrich along the old gas station as well.
Yes.
So that's part of a plan I have in my office. We just haven't pursued it yet.
So as far as we know, the current owners are still
I
interested
haven't
in
talked to
that.
the church. Benny definitely is, but I would talk to the church. I don't know who owns that yet.
Seemed like it would benefit them.
I see him on Sunday morning. It's a small congregation. I just haven't met anybody yet.
Okay.
But they have a banner that's on the wall underneath the overhang. That's a church that they use.
I just hadn't heard anything in a long time, and I remember that was, I can't remember, that was like, what, 2012 or something when we were discussing that.
Well, we can talk to Joe Coons too at Mountain Constructors, because that little area there next to the old Mexican grocery store, Pauline Teendine, I can't remember the name of it, but it's vacant. It's used for residential right now. There's a little area there that could be used to use for off-street parking too off that alley. And Garza, he paved his part of the alley and he put signs up where he doesn't want anybody parking over there.
Yes, yes, I saw that. I can't blame them. I mean, they spent the money.
But when we did that in 2017, that's when Marion Avenue parking was changed to where it was angled on the north side and stall parking on the south side. That's how we paint it. In front of the old grocery store, that's just well, it's curbside parking. And then it's angled on the other side.
Well, and it's a little bit of a walk, but does Becker let us use
Yeah,
the
Becker can
bigger
do
part
that.
of that parking lot
Oh,
as
yeah.
public?
We can work it out, do it public. Sure. They don't use that parcel,
Mm-mm.
so, but there's options down there. I mean, like across, not to extend this meeting, but across from the cracked egg, you have that wasted space right next to Colorado Wire. If you take that sidewalk off and indent that, and then
Exactly.
curve it back out by the alley, you can get that way it's wider through there, so the trucks, it's pretty narrow in the morning when those oil and gas guys or those construction guys are eating breakfast.
Yeah.
It would be, yeah, it would be nice to get as much off of Main Street so that it doesn't look crowded. I would assume that would help the business owners as well.
Well, we can also, I mean, we also talked to Colorado Wire about what can we do with help with their improvements on their property as well. Cause they have a lot of dead space off of Goodrich that they don't utilize. We can just not move the old tractor and leave that there, but some of that,
That was going to be my next question. Is that on our land or on town land?
I'm not moving that old tractor.
I played on that tractor when I was a kid. Don't take it anywhere.
I just didn't know if that would move.
It's in public right away.
Move it over to the museum.
No.
Well, getting that thing to roll,
I don't know if
you never get that to, well, those
See, that
plates they
blue
welded
truck
on the
will pick it up.
tracks would help.
Just pick it up with her.
Any other questions for our town manager?
No, thank you.
I didn't have much to add. I did have a meeting with the county commissioners, the first one in almost a year that they've had with all the towns. And really it was only a get back together and tell them that they're there type of thing. We didn't discuss anything important. That the grants from the federal government was brought up. Some of the towns had some things to talk about that were going on in their town, but really not much. If any of you want to be part of that meeting, let me know. I can forward you the links when we do the meetings. They do them quarterly. Sounds like they're gonna start doing them quarterly again, so
Is that still virtual or by the phone?
it's virtual right now. So just let me know. Besides that, I really don't have anything to add that hasn't been brought up already tonight.
Is there a school board
Anybody on the
meeting?
board have anything they want to discuss or add to the meeting tonight?
I'd like to know when the next school board, I heard something, but I don't remember.
It's March, there's one this month.
We have an executive session at 6.
Oh,
To do the superintendent's evaluation, and then at 6:30 is our study session.
So,
Tomorrow night, 6:30 is our regular study session. The first meeting is always a study session, the
we're
second,
talking about the bond meeting.
the bond meeting, okay.
Yeah.
But Steve asked me about the school board meeting.
And the bond meeting is when?
That's that for,
I don't remember what date it is. It's on my calendar, but,
I think it's next Monday, isn't it?
Next Monday.
Yeah, it's next
is
Monday.
it? Okay.
That's one I'd like to go to.
Is that still back at here, I believe?
No, it's at Valley High.
Is it Valley again? I can't remember.
Like to keep Mr. Hatcher company.
6 o'clock.
But it's at the high school, not at Platteville.
I can't remember.
Oh, at the high school?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, because that bond issue will be presented to the school board, I believe, in June for vote, to put on the ballot.
Has something reopened back up in the old Elver Hall building?
Elver Gill?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm aware of.
Somebody asked me the other day, because they said there's been a bunch of cars and open signs and.
I'll go take a look tomorrow, but last I knew, the family was using it as residential,
Can they use that building as residential?
The restaurant part of it?
the backside.
Oh, I didn't know that
Because-
building had residential in the back.
Because the parent lives off the alley and then the brother lives in the back room.
Okay. Yeah, cause I guess there's, yeah.
Okay.
like I said. And then what about the Crest property? What's going on with that? Do we know?
There was a nonprofit working with Frank to get cleaned up because he was fined heavily by the Will County Planning Department
Mm-hmm.
for violations of zoning and other nuisances and, the former director of she was one of the managers, Denise Bradshaw, she's since left Will County, but she was part of a nonprofit that was helping. They got part of it cleaned up.
Well, and I know they did part of the roof. They fixed the hole, but they didn't do the whole roof.
Exactly, but I don't know where that stands right now. They haven't kept me in the loop.
Well, it doesn't look like he's been back in there. I was just curious.
But, I may reach out to Frank and see if he wants to sell it. Honestly,
Oh, shit.
because it just needs to be scraped. I mean, not to be personal, I mean, just the house is not worth saving.
Yeah.
The company that moved in over there might be interested in buying that.
Now, don't tell me another industrial company across from Rogers Farm. I don't want to hear that.
Well, if they just want to expand into it, I wouldn't care. It's better than looking at what we're looking at.
Is that property still adjacent to our property at the sewer plant? I wasn't sure if it was or not.
I've ordered that.
So you have KSI, which is in town, then Frank's, and then Kathy Harden behind him, the vacant land she'll never sell because she has 3 shares of water. She'll never sell her land. And then you have the sewer lagoon. So those are 2 county enclaves between town properties.
Okay, so north of Frank is a different parcel or not? Is that what you said?
Frank's property extends along Sturkle to about 100 feet from the sewer lagoon, and then the property behind him elbows out and connects to Sturkle. If you look on the assessor's office.
Okay,
So Frank's property doesn't get to the sewer lagoon. Kathy Hart's property comes around to connect. There's a little sliver right there that blocks it.
okay. That would have an effect. That would have a certainly effect on how valuable it would be to us.
Anybody have anything else? If not, our meeting is adjourned.
I'm sorry.